As Klein watched the carriage drive off, the cool breeze sent a chill up his back, and he realized he was drenched in sweat. This has been a long day. I genuinely don't think I can take much more. Too many secrets and lies, and... Is it socially unacceptable to sleep on the stairs? He managed to crawl up the steps in his building, despite his legs cramping with each one. As he unlocked the apartment door, all he could think about was his head hitting the pillow. But it seemed Melissa had other plans. She met him at the door, furious. "Where were you?" Klein was caught off guard. All he could do was blurt out a dumbfounded, "What?" Melissa balked. "What do you mean, what, Klein?" "I woke up and realized you were gone, and there was no note or anything, and it freaked me out. You've never just disappeared before." Klein realized he'd left a note for Melissa in the dream version of events, not the real one. "Thanks, Dunn. That's not confusing at all." He sighed, racking his brain for a cover story. I'm sorry, Melissa. I couldn't sleep, so I went for a run." She looked him up and down. "You went for a run in your pajamas." "Well, shit. I forgot about that." He shrugged, sheepish. "Should I have run in my suit instead?" Melissa rolled her eyes. "You're so weird." She rummaged in her backpack. "Look, I get that you're nervous for the university job interview, which I assume is the actual reason you're all gross and sweaty. So I made you this." She handed him a fidget toy that made a soothing click as it wound up. He rolled it around in his hand, and she explained, "It'll give your anxious energy an outlet." Klein was amazed. Not only was it an incredibly sweet gesture, but it was a pretty neat little mechanical device. He held out his arms for a hug, but Melissa took a step back. "Yeah, no. You're not about to get your sweat all over me." Klein laughed. "Fair enough." He bumped her lightly on the shoulder. "Thank you." He wrestled with himself internally as she retreated into her room. Should I tell her I got another job offer? It pays more, which should be exciting news. But I can't tell her what it even is. Dunn was pretty fucking intense about the secrecy stuff. I'll come up with a way to tell her something. But only if I decide to accept the job. He headed into his own room, eager to finally get some rest. He wound the little fidget toy over and over again as he weighed the pros and cons. Hours passed as he looped around and around in his mind. Is it risky to operate right under the noses of so many powerful Beyonders, while I've got all these secrets? Or does it give me cover if they trust me? It's not just the fact that I used to be Cade, and I came from another world, but now I've got the Tarot Club to think about too. Then again, becoming a sanctioned Beyonder would give the Tarot Club more firepower. Plus, I could easily cover our tracks, if we ever needed it. He felt the Tarot Club gave him a massive advantage in life, even if he hadn't figured out exactly how to leverage it yet. He could use his connections there, and the secrecy behind them, to help his family, to improve their station. It was so hard to climb out of poverty in the low-end kingdom, and now he had access to a noblewoman in Justice and a pirate in the Hanged Man. He imagined they each had money, and the ability to pull strings in their unique circles. And the Nighthawks would give him a unique circle of his own, an inner channel of knowledge and politics, introductions to powerful people, as well as powerful artifacts. Plus, actual fucking superpowers, which would only help make the Tarot Club stronger. Not to mention he'd look even more impressive to Justice and the Hanged Man. And hey, not all of his goals were selfish. He felt like, together, the Tarot Club could actually make changes in society, to make this world a better place. After several hours of intense internal debate, the new day's sun smacked Klein in the face. Oh, was I seriously up all night? He rubbed his bleary eyes, but at least he'd made up his mind. I'm going to join the Nighthawks. Everything else aside, the income alone makes it worth it. And the superpowers thing. He opened his door and found Melissa waiting for him, impatient as always. I'd usually be mad that we're running late, but I'm just glad you got some sleep before your interview tomorrow. She was so hopeful. Klein didn't have the heart to tell her he hadn't slept at all. Klein and Melissa walked down the street. She screwed her face in his direction. You seem a little extra chipper this morning. What's up? Klein grinned. I don't know. I guess my late-night run took some stress off. She groaned. Oh, focus on your studies for tomorrow, okay? You know how much we need the money. Klein hated how worried she was all the time. Don't worry. I've got you. And he meant it. Just not with the job she thinks. They stopped at an intersection, and Melissa wrapped him in a hug. Well, I'm happy to see you so energized. Just put that to good use. With that, she hurried across the street, and as soon as she was out of sight, Klein made a beeline toward the Hound Tavern. It's a long walk, but if Melissa can walk an hour to school every day, I can suck it up and walk too. Of course, he was on zero sleep, hadn't eaten much of anything, and was deeply dehydrated, so he was in rough shape almost immediately. When he finally made it to the pub, he was ragged, barely able to catch his breath, his hair nearly as wild as his eyes. He opened the door, expecting to find some hive of villainy, but instead, he was met with a quiet dive bar. Several regulars sat at the bar, slowly nursing their drinks. And even though it was only 8 a.m, the mood seemed remarkably light and playful. Klein approached the bartender, who watched him with a vaguely disinterested energy. I'm here to see a man named Wright. The bartender whistled and waved over an older man at the other end of the bar. The man grunted, slowly making his way over to Klein. The bartender tossed his towel over his shoulder and turned back to Klein. You gonna want a drink? Klein was parched as all hell. He felt around in his pockets, hoping to find some errant money that he knew wasn't there, before giving up. No thanks. The bartender scowled. Had a feeling. He went back to his boredom on this slow morning. When the old man finally reached Klein, he raised a kind eyebrow. Do I know you? Klein took a breath. Are you right? The man nodded. Aye. Klein kept his voice low, trying to be as discreet as possible. I'm here about an assassin. The bartender, pretending not to eavesdrop, immediately took several steps back, clearly not wanting to get involved or be incriminated. To Klein's surprise, Wright smiled widely. Now, who would tell such a man as yourself to ask me that? Klein hesitated. Is this a trick question? I can't tell him it's about the Nighthawks. That would defeat the whole necessity for Cloak and Dagger in the first place. I only have one option. He stood up tall. Detective Dunn Smith sent me. Wright smirked. Of course he did. More meat for the grinder. Klein bit his lip. Well, that doesn't sound good. But Wright slid a napkin across the bar. Head here. Klein took the napkin and saw 36 Zoutland Street written on it. Wait, that's it? I came all the way here just to be sent somewhere else? He swallowed his pride and doubt and simply smiled. Thanks. As he left, he could feel everyone in the bar staring. There was tension in the air. Just as the door closed behind him, he heard Wright laugh at the bartender. Don't worry, he's not gonna kill you. Klein walked along Zoutland Street, tracking the decaying numbers scrawled along the sides of various businesses. This neighborhood has seen better days, that's for sure. He saw a 36 on a nondescript building. Its simple sign read, Blackthorn Security Company. Weird. He entered, only to find a room with a single desk, a couple of couches, and not much else. And at the desk, a young woman was fast asleep, her face plastered to several pieces of paper, thanks to the adhesive power of drool. Even weirder. Klein cleared his throat and she immediately shot upright. She peeled the paper from her face and pretended she had been reading it the whole time. She sheepishly looked over to Klein and a flash of recognition seemed to cross her face. "You must be Klein, right? Klein Moretti." He nodded, surprised. She smiled warmly. "Welcome to the Nighthawks."